Number 1 says, what is the lateral surface area of the pyramid? Now, I have a note for you to remember that lateral means that it does not include the base. So we're going to find the surface area of every part of this figure except for the base. We are not going to include the base. So let's find the area of the triangles that surround this. So we know that we can see that these 4 triangles are equal. They all have a height of 55 feet. So they're going to have the same area. The base for this triangle is 35 feet. So we know that our formula for area of a triangle is area equals 1/2 base times height. Our base is the 35, and the height is 55. So in your calculator, you can type 0.5 times 35 times 55, and you should get 962.5. However, that's the area for just one of these triangles. And we see that we have 4 of those. So I'm going to take this answer and multiply it by the 4 triangles that I have that equal that. And that gives me 3,850. Number 2 says that Josiah is making a figure out of stacking 2 rectangular figures on top of each other. He wants to cover the entire figure, including the bottom. How many square meters will he cover? So the first thing that I'm going to deal with is this top box right here. All right, so I'm going to find the sides of it first, the left and the right side. So I know that the height is 6, and I can tell by this dimension right here that this is going to be 5. So area equals base times height, and area equals 5 times 6, which gives me 30. Now, if this right side of this box is 30, this left side back here is going to be 30 as well. So I'm going to write that again just so I remember to add 2 of those back when I find my total amount. Now, I need to find this front and back face. Now, the length is going to be 3 and my height is going to be 6. So area equals base times height. My area equals 3 and my height is 6. 3 times 6 gives me 18. And the front is going to be equal to the back. So I have that answer twice. Now I'm going to find the area of this top part. And I'm also going to find it for the bottom part. But we're going to do something differently with that whenever we get to the end of this problem. So let's look at just the top. The width is 3 and the length is 5. So area equals base times height, and we have 3 times 5, which gives me an area of 15. All right, now I'm going to go ahead and note right here that this bottom piece is 15. I don't need that right now for my total number, but I'm going to use that right now or make that note for when I get further on in this problem. And I'm going to denote that this is the top box. Sometimes that makes it easier when you're taking your measurements if you know which box you were working on. So now I'm going to find the front and back sides of this bottom part. The length is 8 and the height is 5. So area equals base times height with a base of 8 and a height of 5. 8 times 5 gives me 40. So the front is going to be equal to the back side. So I'm going to go ahead and write that twice because I have 2 of those. Now let's do the side length. So this side length and this side length over here are going to be the same. Once again, I'm going to use area equals base times height. The base is 5 and the height is 5. 5 times 5 gives me 25. And I have 2 of those, so I'm going to write that twice. Now, I need to find the 2 bottom pieces, the bottom and the top piece. So first of all, I'm going to find this bottom part. Oops, I missed that already. I'm going to find the bottom part. So I'm going to say that area equals base times height. The base is 8, and the height of the width is 5, and that gives me an area of 40. So this bottom has an area of 40, all right? Now I also know that this whole top is gonna have an area of 40. However, we're just trying to find the square meters that's gonna be covered with wrapping paper. So I think we can agree that this piece that is sitting under this box is not going to be covered with wrapping paper. So we only need to cover this section right here. And to find out how many square meters that is, we're going to say 40 minus 15. And 40 minus 15 gives me an area of 25. So now you're going to say 30 plus 30 plus 15 plus 18 plus 18 plus 40 plus 40 plus 25 plus 25 plus 40 plus 25 again. And you should get a total of 306. You should get a total of 306 square meters. Number 3 says Maddie bought a gift for her friend. She wants to place the gift in a package with the length of 9 inches, width of 12 inches, and a height of 4 inches. Then she wants to wrap the gift. What is the surface area of the package? Now, I cannot possibly solve these in my head without drawing a picture. So I suggest if your brain works like that too, it may help you a lot to draw a picture. Your picture doesn't have to be beautiful. Mine clearly isn't, but it really does help if you will draw a picture so that you can kind of imagine those dimensions. So it said it has a length of 9, a width of 12, and a height of 4. So we're going to have to find the surface area of this package. All right, so the first thing that I'm going to do is find the area of the front and back. So I know that area equals base times height. The base is 9 and the height is 4. So 9 times 4, and that gives me an area of 36. If my front equals 36, then so does the back side. So I get 36 for the front and the back. Now we can find the area of these side pieces. So the left and right sides. So I know that area equals base times height. The base is 12, the height is 4. So area equals 12 times 4. And that gives me 48. If the left side is 48, so is the right side. So I have 2 of those dimensions. Now let's look at the top and bottom. I have a length of 9 and a width of 12. So for the top and the bottom, I know I'm going to use area equals base times height, and area equals 9 times 12, and that gives me 108. If the top is 108, then so is the bottom. So now to get my final answer, I'm going to say 108 plus 108 plus 48 plus 48 plus 36 plus 36. And you should get a total of 384. Now number 4, we're finding the area of this composite shape. Alright, so we're going to find it, I think it's going to be easier if we find it of this top square first. We know the base is 5 and the height is 6, so 5 times 6 gives me 30. Let me write that a little bit clearer. So we get 30. Alright, so we did that by saying area equals base times height, and 5 times 6 gave me 30. So now we need to find the area of this part. Now we know that 15 is the length of this entire thing, all right? This piece is 7 and this piece is 5, so that makes 15. All right, so let's look. Guys, I'm totally wrong, sorry. 7 plus 5 gives us a length of 12 for this thing. And then if the full thing is 10, and then just this part is 6, the height is going to be 4. So we've got to say 4 times 12, and we get 48. So area equals 4 times 12, and we get an area of 48. All right, so now let's look at the triangle. We know that the height is 4. If this whole thing is 15, this is 7, and this is 5, then this part has to be 3. So we're going to say that area equals 1/2 base times height, and area equals 1/2 times 3 times 4. And that gives me an area of 6. So now I've got to add all of this together. So 6 plus 48 plus 30 gives me a total of 84. Doesn't this right here should just be 5 times 6, not 60? Try to know what I meant. All right, so you get a total of 84. All right, so let's look at number 5. Once again, we're finding the area of a composite figure. I'm going to go ahead and split this figure into 2 different shapes. So the first thing I'm going to do is find the area of the top figure. So area equals base times height. I see that the base is 20 and the height is 12. 20 times 12 gives me 240. So the area of this top part is 240. All right, so now let's look at the bottom. So area equals base times height. The base is 34 and the height is 8. 34 times 8 gives me 272. So now if I'm the total, I say 240 plus 272, and I get a total of 512. All right, let's flip to the back page. So we're finding the shaded area of this composite figure. Now this one's a little tricky. It tells us that the length of this whole thing is 12, and the length of this part right here is 6. All right. So that tells me that I have 6 inches, feet, whatever you want to have. It doesn't specify between this triangle and this triangle. All right. Now I know that 3 plus 3 is 6, and that would work, but those 2 triangles are not the same size. So I'm going to say that this one has a base of 4 and this one has a base of 2. All right. Because 12 minus 6 gives me 6 left over for this piece and this piece, and 4 plus 2 is 6. Now, if you use 3 and 3, you're going to get the same answer, all right? So let's look at the area of both of these shaded triangles. So the area of a triangle is 1/2 base times height. The base is 4 of the first triangle, and the height is 3. And that's going to give me an area of 6. Now let's find the area of this triangle right here. So I know once again, area of a triangle is 1/2 times the base times the height. The base is 2 and the height is 3. So 2 times 3 is 6, and half of that is 3. Now to find my total, I say 6 plus 3, and I get a total of 9. Number 7, we're finding the area of the shaded part. So the first thing I'm going to do is find the area of the whole square, so the entire thing. So area equals base times height. My base is 22 and my height is 18. 22 times 18 gives me 396. Now I'm going to find the area of the triangle. So it still has a base of 22 and a height of 9. So I know that the formula for area of a triangle is 1/2 times the base times the height. The base is 22 and the height is 9. So half of 9 times 22 gives me 99. So now I have to subtract. So I have to say 396 minus the triangular part to get 297. And that is the shaded area. Number 8, what is the surface area of this triangular prism? So, the first thing I'm going to do is do the front and the back bases. Alright? So I know that area of a triangle is 1/2 times the base times the height. The base of that triangle is 5 and the height is 6. 5 times 6 is 30 and half of that is 15. So if this front is 15, then I also know that this back is going to be 15. Alright, now I need to find the area of this right side of this triangular prism. And since it doesn't give me any dimensions, I know that this front side is going to be the same as this back side. This right side is going to be the same as the left side. They have a length of 11 and a height of 6.5. So I know that I'm going to use the formula of area equals base times height. The base is 11 and the height is 6.5. So 11 times 6.5 gives me 71.5. Now, if this is 71.5, so is the other side going to be 71.5. So I'm going to go ahead and write that twice. Alright, now let's look at the bottom or the base that it is sitting on. Do not forget about those bases. So, my base is going to be 5, my height is going to be 11, and that is going to give me 55. So now to get my total, I'm going to say 55 plus 71.5 plus 71.5 plus 15 plus 15, and I get a total of 228 feet squared. Alright, number 9, I'm finding the surface area of the pyramid. So the first thing I'm going to do, sometimes it's a good idea to go ahead and do your base first, guys, so that you don't forget about it. The base is 10, and it also has a height of 10, and that's going to give me an area of 100. So now I'm going to find the area of these faces, all right? It tells me that their base is going to be 10, and their height is going to be 18. Now, all 4 bases on this pyramid, or all 4 triangular faces on this pyramid are going to be the same. So I'm going to use my formula 1/2 base times height. My base is 10 and my height is 18. Now, half of 180 gives me 90. And I have 4 of those triangular faces that equal 90. So I get a total of 360. So to get your total, you're going to say 360, which gives you 460. 360 plus 100 gives you 460. The last one, Mary's making a prop for art class. If she wants to paint all sides of the figure shown, how many square feet of paint will she need? So we're just going to find the lateral because it doesn't say she wants the top or the bottom. So we are just doing the sides. So let's do this front side. Guys, and I see my base here, and I see my height of 18.5 here. So this width right here is going to be 5. I have to use context clues to figure that out. So I'm going to find the front and the back. The base is 13.5 and the height is 18.5. So I'm going to say 13.5 times 18.5. 13.5 times 18.5 gives me 249.75. And I know that I'm going to have 2 of those faces. the front and the back. Now, I need to find the two side lengths. Once again, I'm going to use the area equals base times height. The base is 5, the height is still 18.5. So I'm going to say 5 times 18.5. 5 times 18.5 gives me 92.5. And if my right side is 92.5, then my left side is going to be 92.5 as well. I do not have to find the top and bottom because we're just painting the sides. So to get your total, you're going to say 92.5 plus 92.5 plus 249.75 plus 249.75, and that's going to give you a total of 684.5 centimeters squared. Good luck on your test.